Hi, welcome to another edition of Talk with Confidence. This is where we have inspirational conversations with inspirational people. Today, I have a truly inspirational guest in studio with us. Her name is Elizabeth Monareng. She's an author, she's a speaker, and she's also a pastoral counselor. We're going to get into her life story and get into her book. Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Are you excited to be here?
Oh, yes.
Okay. we're talking off air and she was very serious. I said, Elizabeth, please smile. So I think she's going to bring all her smiles on camera today. Wow, Confessions of a Preacher's Kid. Before we get into the book, let's get a bit into your life, who you are. So can you tell us a little bit where you grew up, what you do, etc.?
Okay. My name is Elizabeth Monareng, obviously. I grew up in Soshanguve. I'm a PK, as with
Preacher's
the book.
kid,
Yes, a preacher's kid. I am a sister, a mother, a daughter, and a friend to many. I'm a nurse by profession, an ICU nurse working in Papua New Guinea. And I've just discovered that I'm an author.
Wow.
And I'm a pastoral counselor, still continuing, still enjoying the learning process.
Wow. So you're still in the studying. You're still studying that. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I am.
All right. Wonderful. Confessions of a Preacher's Kid. So we've established that you are a preacher's kid.
Yes.
But what inspired you? I mean, there are a lot of preacher's kids, but they haven't authored books. What inspired you in particular to write this book?
For me, it was the issue of finding yourself or finding your balance as a human being, and also noticing or realizing that you have a purpose and the calling of God upon your life. But now, how do you get into it when you are so far away from God? And now you draw closer to God. Now, how do you get the confidence to get into your calling without cleaning up the mess that you have been through as a young girl, as a confused preacher's kid, and all of that. And going into college, doing the pastoral counseling, I realized that I had to be free to heal before I could help anybody. And as I was journaling, going through the healing process, I just thought this could be a book.
Wow.
But the main issue or the main thing happened when there was one of my colleagues at work who used to, I think he was mocking me, or he thought he was mocking me or something, like, I don't know. And he would meet me on the passages and call me and be like, repent. And I'd be like, okay. And one day he would be like, Elizabeth, Jesus loves you. I'm like, okay. And this particular day, for some reason, we met on the corridors and he was like, Elizabeth, the preacher's daughter, And I thought,
Yeah, Elizabeth.
So when I met with my friend Judith Munyarike, we used to meet every Sunday in Papua New Guinea. She's from Zimbabwe, and we were like comfort sisters, comforting each other, praying together, talking and all. So this afternoon, Sunday, we went for our brunch as usual, and I'm like, my friend, this guy today said something. He called me the preacher's daughter. And both of us, we, when you are like, I want to tell you something, and she's like, I want to tell you something, only to find we were both saying, maybe we should put it in a book.
Wow.
And we sat down and we were brainstorming the book. And I'm thinking in my head, a book. I don't see myself writing a book.
Yeah.
But then the healing process, the journaling, and all the content I have learned that I was putting into practice came to my mind to say, actually, there is a preacher's kid out there who has or who needs to realize their purpose, or maybe realize their purpose, but too embarrassed to to come back and to say, hey, this is me, and this is what I feel God has called me to do. And where do I start when I have messed up so much, or when I have been away for so long? So that's when I started writing the book.
Wow. I mean, being a preacher's kid, I presume there are a lot of pressures.
Oh, yes.
What are some of those pressures that come with being a preacher's kid?
Mainly your behavior. There are expectations as to how you should carry yourself. It's enough to have expectations on how you should carry yourself as a woman in the society, but then top it up with being a preacher's kid. Now everything changes. The reputation of your parents becomes your weight somehow. Even without them saying it, you can
It's
sense
implied.
it, you can see it, you can feel it, you know. And sometimes when they discipline you, you can even hear the frustration in their voices. You know, my dad used to say, I'm teaching people this, and look at what you are doing. You know, it's like, oh, okay, so now you have to come into a realization that I'm not living for myself here, and now I'm not called. You know, I'm not the preacher. Why?
You're just
Exactly.
a preacher's kid.
Exactly. So I want to be a normal child. I want to be me. I want to be a normal teenager. You know, I want to be naughty like any other child, but you can't, because whatever you do, there's somebody looking, and whatever they see in you, they somehow transfer it to your parents, or they identify your parents by what you are doing. So whatever they are saying doesn't have weight because of whatever you are doing, which is contradictory to what they are saying. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of pressure.
No, it is.
And from a preacher's point of view, do you think a lot of preachers see the pressure that the kids go through, or is it that they're feeling so much of their own pressure that they're almost blind to what the children are going through?
I think so. I think they themselves are going through so much pressure that they don't see what is happening to you. It's like everything is about them wanting to be pleasing God in every way, wanting to be teaching or raising their children in the ways of the Lord, and they don't see you. It's all about I'm conscious. You know, there is this pressure when you begin to say, not even being a preacher or anything, when you begin to say I'm born again. It's like now all eyes are on you, and you can feel it. You are aware, and that awareness creates unnecessary pressure, because now you don't even have time to learn through life. You are just guiding yourself too much that you are even robbing yourself the essence of the relationship that you have with the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. You don't have time to nurture that because you are so much consumed into this new role or new behavioral behavior that now you must step into, and you don't trust yourself to be doing it. Everybody's looking at you. Everybody's giving you a sentence to say, oh no, it will die in 3 months, or we'll see how far it goes. So that awareness it's a problem, and I think they also go through that.
So what I'm hearing as well is there's a lot of performance. There's a need to perform.
Yes.
Almost like the expectation from society because of the title that the preacher has, and you as a preacher's kid, there's a script.
Oh yes.
Predetermined script
Exactly.
that perform to the script,
This way.
or else you're not authentic in the position that you're in.
Yeah.
In writing the book, how long did it take you from the day you started and the day that you dotted the last I in the book?
You know, the healing journey started in 2014 when I started doing my first year as a pastoral counsellor. And in 2015, in my second year, it was intense because now it was me saying, okay, Lord, I am healing. I am this far, but now how do I come out? How do I live into this healing and this forgiveness and this love relationship that I am now experiencing with you, without wondering if anybody is ticking a box of my past. And I stopped journaling for some time. I actually even dropped out of college for some time. In 2016, it was like you make a decision. You either leave this thing. You don't need to just go about telling everybody that you are a pastoral counselor or anything. It can just be for your healing, and you can live it. Like, there's no pressure. You have a job, and there's no need for you to preach anyway. You can have a relationship and relax. That's what I thought. And I had to go back. I just felt the need to go back to studying in 2016. And that time, that's the time I started the book. It was in 2016, January. I think the 18th of January, to be exact.
To the date.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I speak with a lot of authors, and as an author myself, there is a lot of healing that comes through the pen itself. And did you find that in writing the book? In the process itself, or in what was being written? Where did the healing come from? Is it reading it after you've written it?
The whole process, because I got into a relationship with the Word of God. And with it, I got into a relationship with the characters in the Bible.
Wow.
And it's like, I don't know, maybe I was crazy or something, but I was talking to them, and, asking them questions whilst going through my own to say, but King David, how did you do this? How did you heal from that? And as I was asking those questions, I would go finding answers, through their behavior, through, like for him, he was a guy who always humbled himself. He was a guy who always knew to repent. He was a guy who always knew how to converse with God, like, having this relationship with God, so much so that God called him a man after his own heart. So, I asked them those questions, and that's how I was finding my own healing.
Wow.
And that's how my relationship was also deepening. So you will see, even in my book, I call them my friends.
Yeah.
I would laugh at their mistakes, and by that, I would laugh at my own. I'd be like, oh yeah, no, we do this. But you and I, my friend, things like that. And I got healed through it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So having read the book, one of the most powerful things in reading it was the humor. Because it's a very serious book, and it's a deep book, and everybody, you should get this book. We'll give you the details at the end of the interview. But I loved the humor in it as well, and you're a humorous person. What's the importance of that? Even going through, amidst the challenges of life, how important is humor, keeping a sense of humor?
I think for me, it's this thing that I talk to myself a lot, and I reflect a lot on my mistakes, and I see my stupidity. I see, there are sometimes you'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't have to do it, but I did, and you feel so humiliated by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I humiliated myself there.
Yeah.
And then you laugh at yourself, and you sit down and be like, okay, next time, how are you gonna go about this?
Yes.
It's like failure. I've learned that failure, it becomes what you interpret it to be. If you condemn yourself because you failed, you'll never get anywhere. If you talk to yourself about it and see your foolishness in it, like, what did I do that is so foolish that made me to fail? And what did I do that is intelligent that could have helped me if I did not do this foolish thing? So how do I delete this and add on to that? That's how you grow in life as a person, or that's how I grow in life as a person. I laugh at my faults, but then you might think, oh my gosh, she's got it all together. I'm so afraid of criticism, and it's also another way or another thing that I noticed about myself, and I will beat myself up so hard, and it will be like, but you've been crying for so long. Are you gonna wake up someday and do something, because the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
You know, time is not waiting for you to cry and cry and cry and cry until Jesus comes. There should be a time where you're like, okay, no, wipe my face, clean up, and just go out and start again. Or because you have to start all over.
Yeah.
You cannot continue where you left off and forget or ignore the failure. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the same mistakes. So you start all over. You take one step forward, 10 steps backwards, you laugh at yourself, I fell again, okay, fine, you know,
Yeah.
and you stand up. And so that's why the humor, it's like I would be sitting and writing and be like, oh my gosh, I don't believe I did that. I don't believe I don't believe I said that. I don't believe I behaved that way. And yeah.
Wow. You said you had a choice of writing this and saying it's for me, or doing the pastoral counseling and saying it's just for my own healing. But you decided that, no, I'm going to take this and help other people. What pushed you to that decision? Because I believe there are a lot of people with books inside of them, stories inside of them, but they've opted for the other option of, if I've got my journal, it's a journal just for me. Although they know that the content in that particular journal, if to share some of it, people would get healed, people would relate and say, wow, I'm not alone. The skills that they have, they're choosing to keep those skills to themselves. But if they were to transfer or help other people, people would live much happier lives. So for you, at that crossroad, what made you say, I'm going to go public with this, I'm going to use it to help other people? What was that distinct factor that made you choose the second option? Yeah.
I think it's the issue of, naturally I like to help people.
Yeah.
But then I had to sit and realize that helping people, it's not only about seeing to it that they have a bread on their table. Meanwhile, you go into your room and you have the fears, the low self-confidence, and your self-worth is under the table and all of that. And the only way to in a way, it was like helping myself whilst helping others.
people.
And the only way to do that is to strip off the fear of not being naked. You know, like Adam and Eve, when they noticed that they were naked, they hid themselves. That is not the thing. God wanted them there so that he could clothe them.
Yeah.
But they hid themselves because they were ashamed. They felt guilty. So I had to make a decision that, am I going to live in private guilt and private shame and pretend as if I woke up one day and I found Jesus standing next to my bed and we just decided we're going to have this relationship and it's over. Oh, wow, I'm going to heaven. Or am I going to say, okay, I'm naked. Father, clothe me, cover me.
Wow.
And how else do you do that without just going out there? You can't be hidden and be like, I'm naked, cover me, and nobody can find you. Just get out there and be covered. And let everybody or somebody see that, okay, I'm naked, but there is a God who is so full of warmth that he wants to cover you. You don't need to be hidden, because then that will keep you more into the pit. The pit of, I hate guilt. I'm sure you've seen as you went through the book, I hate guilt, I hate shame. I just don't want to be friends with them anymore. They are not good friends at all. They are thieves. They steal from you. They steal life, the essence of life, out of you. And the only way to get them out is to notice them and say, no, I'm out there. Guilt, shame, I don't want you anymore. I want to be clothed with the glory of God. Finish and clear.
Wow.
Yeah.
For somebody who is going through the guilt and the shame, whether a preacher's kid or just somebody who's had those negative experiences in life, if you were to talk to them and give them advice right now, what would you say to them?
Oh my word. You know, I always say when I talk to people, whether at church or anywhere, that if you can pick up a motivational book, that tells you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful 50 times. I don't know how much that helps. And say, I'm beautiful, and go out saying, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
Why can't you do the same with the word of God and what God says about you? And what he says about his forgiveness over your life, the intents, the love that he loves us with, it's not just a simple love, it's very intense, so much so that he had to take our place and die for our sins. That is so much intense. I don't see myself doing it for anybody, not even my own children. I'm honest, but he did that.
Wow.
So it gives you a picture of how much he really, really deeply loves you. And you can do that. As much as you want to stand in the mirror and say, I'm going to dress up and show up. I can. Do the same, even with the word. Have a verse that speaks to you about the love of God. Have a verse with it that speaks to you about the grace of God, about the forgiveness of God. And that is in its own forming a relationship. I always say, I understand people are talking about the grace, people are talking about the condemnation and all sorts of things, and we are so angry at each other, but it's so simple. You have to build a relationship, constant fellowship. And it's not about kneeling down and saying, oh, Father, forgive me today. No, talk to him like a friend. He is your friend. He says that.
Wow, powerful. The current social climate has been rather negative and dark, especially towards women. We recently had the gender-based violence movement and march happening. As a woman and as a woman who's gone through similar type of experiences in life, what is your take on the gender-based movement, on gender equality, on women's standing in society in general?
Whew, that's a difficult one. Simply because we might go through the same pain, but our interpretation is going to be different. Because our personalities are different. Yes. Our character has been molded differently. Yes. And our temperaments are different. So I've been through sexual abuse. She's been through sexual abuse, but the interpretation is going to be different. And because of the interpretation, the reaction is different. I'm going to talk to, I just want to give you an example. Yeah. Sorry, like I say, I've got friends in the Bible. Oh my God. No problem. I'm going to give you a simple example between two women, Vashti and Esther. Both of them were going through the pain of the system. If you read through the book of Esther, especially the first 4 chapters. But now the interpretation was different based on the fact that they were molded differently. Esther was molded by a man named Mordecai. So she was actually comfortable, around the male figure. She was comfortable, and she did not see, she was not happy with the patriarchal system, but she did not see it as a competition because she had this kind of a relationship with a man that made her feel comfortable. And now Vashti, on the other hand, she was this queen who has been with this man who has been ruthless, King Ahasuerus, a ruthless king. We don't know actually what was the kind of a relationship between the two of them, apart from the fact that he loved her. But I mean, he sent 7 men to take her so that he could parade her and strip her of her dignity as a queen. And she said no. Was she wrong? No. She wasn't. But now, look at the men, the wise men who were called and asked by the king to say, because you know the times, you know the laws and everything, what do I do? Or what do I do about this woman who publicly denied or publicly disrespected me? Because that's how he felt. And there's a man named Mamuken, and his name means impoverished. Like really. And he was the man who was answering to say, no, let's remove her because she's going to teach all of our wives to disrespect us. And to impoverish, it's like to strip you off of your dignity, your power, and your strength. Meanwhile, you are fighting for the right cause. But if you fight the system using the power, the strength, the wisdom of the system, the anger and the brutality of the system, you're going to be disempowered because the system has been there long enough, you know? So you have to be a woman who is content in themselves being a woman and also not be intimidated. By that, I mean be comfortable, face the system comfortably, face Haman comfortably as a woman.
Wow, powerful. So you in the beginning you mentioned your specific roles.
Yeah.
Tell us about your role as a mother.
Oh my God. My role as a mother, okay, my firstborn was a boy, or is a boy, he's still alive. A boy, and you know, growing up, being sexually abused, and boom, you have a child, and oh my goodness, it's a boy. And you don't have a good relationship with his father, so it's a man. And you are not happy with your father because you were raped in his absence, and now it's another man. And you have to raise this boy with this feelings of resentment and hate and anger. You know, you hear me talking about the difference between Vashti and Esther, and you think, no, I've always had it together. No, I had to learn through it. I had to snap out of it through learning and through seeing myself into this pain and fighting so terribly, fighting this thing with so much anger that everybody or all the men are giving to me, or that's, you know, as much as I thought. So I'm raising this boy child with this anger, and the relationship is not that good. And my mom steps in, and I go back to varsity to empower myself so that I can take care of him. And then he becomes a teenager, and he becomes a teenager who now feels this distance between himself and his mother, and now there's constant fights, and he decides, okay, maybe I should go see my dad or stay with my dad, and he leaves. And through that separation, the both of us come to a realization that we love each other, and there's no need to be angry at each other. And he decides that and then to come back, and we have this relationship where I'm always thinking, oh my God, you're too old for that. You should have done that when you were like 12 or something. But I'm enjoying it so much. Wow. And now the second child, they are actually 16 years apart. And the second, I mean, yeah. And
won't ask how old you are.
No, don't go there. Yeah, I always say, I'm not a teenage mom, as if it makes it sounds better, but it's not. I am a mother, and I was a mother in my early 20s, and I was not married, okay? So it doesn't make it any better. Whether I was a teenager or not, it doesn't make it any better. But now I have a second child who is a girl, and she's just so different from me. It's like she's teaching me to be a woman.
Wow.
She goes with the lip glosses. I don't. You have to really
She's a girly girl.
She's a girly girl. And even the way she carries herself, she's a huggy, touchy person. Wow. And I want my space. You know, I've been so rejected for so long that it's okay to be on my own. And she does not allow me to do that. Wow. And through her, I'm learning to be like, oh, okay, so I can be myself. I mean, I'm. Yeah, as you say, I'm a humorous person. I'm a loving person, and it's okay to take it out there and love. It is okay. And so she's actually teaching me. It's like I'm learning afresh to be a mother from a woman. She's gonna be a woman. She's a girl, but she's gonna be a woman. Yeah. So it's like I'm having this girl-to-girl relationship with her that is changing my view and my perception of myself as a woman.
Wow, beautiful. So from mother now to your profession. So you're growing in your professional career. So you started out as a nurse. You're still a nurse, but you're studying pastoral counseling, And then I believe you've even started doing mental wellness workshops. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, with that, my colleges, I think my college lecturers are going to kill me, but I have to say this. You know, I'm also completing my honors in psychology, applied psychology.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
that is where all my mental health and wellness talks are coming from. Also, a lot of it from my pastoral counseling as well, because now I've done my diploma, I'm busy with my degree, and the very, very first assignment I had to do had a lot of mental health. I think the second one, the illness and pastoral care, it had a lot of mental health and wellness in it. And also with it, there was a lot of, healing is a journey. It's not, you can't say, no, I've written this book and it's about healing from guilt and shame, I'm okay, anger, resentment, oh, I'm okay. No, you have to stay healthy. How do you maintain that mental health? It's a constant decision, a daily decision that you have to take. So yeah, that's where I am now.
Wonderful.
If God willing, I will be doing my master's in wellness, health, wellness, and developmental psychology.
That's awesome.
Very soon, yeah.
That's awesome. So do you work with corporates or teams, or in the corporate space where you help them with mental wellness and corporate culture?
Yes, by default. By default, because in our team in Papua New Guinea, we had to do a lot of community development stuff, mainly about infectious diseases. I'm being employed as a critical care nurse, okay? And one day, one of the guys from the Rotary Club, who was a president at the time, came in to visit our doctor, who is our team leader. And Dr. Barbara, she's actually one of the people who wrote acknowledgements.
Yes.
And then she was so excited because it was just after I had come back from the injury, and also the book was just out at the time. And she was telling him, oh, she wrote a book about this. And he picked up the book and paged through it, and he saw things like guilt, shame, self-condemnation, and he put the book down, and then he said, so it means you can talk to us about mental health. And I was like, yeah. I was just completing my assignment, and it was just, I got the results back. I did well in it. Exactly. And I'm busy with my neuropsychology, my neurobiological psychology subject as well in my honors level. I'm like, I can do it.
Yeah.
And it was just a talk, and it was just outside of what we are doing, our mandate as a trauma team, critical care / trauma team in Papua New Guinea. But then he continues to speak to my team lead, who's like, oh my God, no, she can do it. And they set up dates, and boom, I was there. At the Rotary Club in their meeting talking about mental health. And one of the guys, Dr. Tinde, who is, I think, dealing with the education, coordinating capacity development for the university there in Ley, said to me, I think I need to get you to come and talk to us about this topic. And fine. So I gave him Dr. Barbara's details because she's the team lead, and she took the invite to our managers. For some reason, they said yes. So I went and I spoke about mental health. And then after that, she went back to the Rotary Club to say, no, we have to have her back.
Wow.
So I had
Must
to
have
go
been
back.
powerful.
So they say, and now this time, I think with him, it was intense because they wanted me to be there for half a day, which we can't. But I don't know what happened. The managers just said yes. So I went for half a day and I did the talk. Afterwards, he said, she gave us too much, more than she gave us the first time here in the Rotary Club. So I think we need to have her back until she completes everything that she did during that half a day with us at the university. And I went for the second time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it an aspect of your professional career that you're looking to grow? Wonderful. I understand that your website is underway. elizabethmonareng.com.
And it's making me smile.
Wonderful. I mean, as you're speaking, I'm seeing career growth. I'm seeing growth spiritually, growth as a woman, growth as a daughter, growth as a mother, and I'm seeing you becoming. This is just the beginning. I'm seeing you becoming a globally impactful speaker, author. And why I'm saying that is that, this is a first book, but there's another book that you speak to, in which you speak to particularly women's issues, and so that's the second baby.
Oh yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the second baby because oh my goodness, it's gonna deliver us from the resentments against the patriarchy system. It's just a system and we can change it, and for us to change it, we don't fight men. We change it within ourselves first, and then it will come out. It will just, I'm so excited about the second baby.
I think we're gonna have you, when you publish that book, we're gonna have you back so that we can talk about it. Final question. Describe Mashadi Elizabeth Monareng in 10 years' time. What's your vision?
10 years' time?
What do you want to be doing? How old will you be? I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I'll be 15, okay? In 10 years' time, I'll be 15, turning 16.
Okay. So what do you want to be doing? What the lives you want to be impacting? How many books will you have published by then?
I think my success is not going to be that important if I don't have a group of women with me. Successful. And success, I don't mean your academic success. I don't mean your financial success, because all of those are just additions. Success in being me. Success in the confidence in this beauty that God has granted me as a woman on this earth. Success in being able to relate to the opposite sex without feeling competition, without feeling resentment. Success in being the woman. I don't know how to even explain that. So I think if I can have one woman a year, 10 years, I'll have 10, and each 10 will have 10, and each 10 will have 10. Oh my goodness, it will be very great.
That's really impact. Wonderful. Elizabeth Monareng, thank you for joining us. It's been powerful. It's been an absolute pleasure. And if you want a book, you can email info@elizabethmonareng.com and you'll get a response promptly. Wherever you are, a book can be couriered to you. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Confidence Silme. You've been watching Talk with Confidence right here on Global Conference Television. Itada.